Dark clouds covered the red sky of Valtherus, the kingdom of dragons. The wind was heavy with ash and sorrow. Inside the crystal palace, the mighty dragon emperor Kael'thar stood over a small cradle, and in it, his newborn heir was dying. No healer of the dragon clans could help. Every spell failed. The little hatchling's wings were weak, his breath faint, his scales pale as frost. Even the ancient flames of the emperor's heart could not keep the child alive. For the first time in 1,000 years, the dragon emperor felt helpless. "Find anyone!" he roared, his voice shaking the mountains. "Anyone who can save my son." Days passed. Hope faded. Until something impossible happened. A human ship crashed near the edge of the Dragonlands, torn apart by stormfire. From the wreckage, a lone survivor walked out, a young woman named Lyra. She was wounded, lost, and terrified, yet there was something in her eyes, a strange blue light that pulsed like energy itself. When dragon scouts captured her, she expected death. But instead, they dragged her before the emperor. "She is just a human," hissed the court mage. "She cannot save a dragon prince." Yet when Lyra looked at the dying hatchling, she whispered, "I can try." The emperor's eyes narrowed. "If you fail, human, your life ends here." Lyra knelt beside the cradle. Her hands trembled. She closed her eyes, and light bloomed from her palms, soft and pure, unlike any dragon magic. The air shimmered. The dying prince breathed once. Then again. The court gasped. The impossible had begun. But as the prince's color returned, something dark stirred in the skies above. An ancient energy that watched, waiting. The emperor didn't know that saving his child would awaken something far older than dragons. The great halls of the dragon palace were silent. Every eye watched the small cradle where the dragon prince now slept peacefully. The impossible had happened. The human girl, Lyra, had done what no dragon healer could. The emperor, Kael'thar, stood tall beside her, his golden scales glowing dimly in the torchlight. His voice was deep, uncertain. "You saved him." Lyra nodded slowly, still trembling. "He's weak, but he'll live." The court of dragons began to whisper, deep rumbling voices echoing through the hall. "How can a human wield such power? What magic is this? She's dangerous." The emperor raised a clawed hand and the whispers stopped. "You will stay here, human," he commanded, "until I decide what to do with you." Lyra bowed her head. She was too exhausted to argue. That night, while the palace slept, Lyra sat alone in her chamber. Her hands still glowed faintly blue. She remembered the crash. Her ship falling from the sky, her team screaming, and then the light that had answered her in the darkness. It wasn't her power. Not entirely. It was something that spoke to her through the stars. Suddenly, a small shadow crawled into her room. It was the dragon prince. Still tiny, his scales shining like dawn. He looked at her with bright eyes and made a soft, crackling sound. Lyra smiled sadly. "You shouldn't be here, little one." The hatchling climbed onto her lap, curling up like a cat. For a moment, everything felt peaceful. But outside her window, a strange pulse moved across the sky. A dark wave, like a storm made of shadow. Far away, deep in the black mountains, ancient eyes opened. A voice whispered through the cold air. "The forbidden light has returned." By morning, the emperor called a council. "We must understand what this human has done," he said. "If her magic can save a life, it might also take one." The court mage, Vorthan, glared at Lyra. "My emperor, I have seen this light before, long ago. It was used by those who almost destroyed our world. The Starborn." "The Starborn?" Kael'thar repeated. Vorthan nodded grimly. "Creatures not of this world. They gave their power to humans once, and nearly burned the skies." The emperor's gaze darkened. He looked down at Lyra. "Tell me, girl, where did you learn this power?" Lyra hesitated. Her voice shook. "I didn't learn it. It chose me." Her answer sent a chill through the room. Even the fire in the torches flickered low. Before the emperor could speak again, a soldier rushed into the chamber, breathless and pale. My lord, the outer watchtowers, they're gone. Something attacked in the night. The emperor's wings flared wide. By whose hand? The soldier's voice cracked. It wasn't an army. It was a shadow made of fire and stars. Lyra froze. She knew that name in her bones. The thing that gave her power had found her again. As the dragons prepared for battle, the emperor looked down at the girl who had saved his son, and realized that her arrival was not a miracle. It was a warning. The storm she brought was only beginning. The night sky of Valtherus burned again, this time not with fire, but with fear. From the high towers of the Dragon Palace, lights could be seen twisting in the clouds, black and silver, moving like living storms. The emperor, Kael'thar, stood on the highest balcony, his golden armor glowing against the dark. His son was alive, yes, but peace was dead. Behind him, Lyra stood quietly. The wind pulled her hair, and the blue light in her hands flickered like a dying flame. The emperor's voice rumbled. What did you bring to my world, human? Lyra lowered her eyes. I don't know, but it's coming for me. Far beyond the Dragonlands, in the silent void between worlds, a vast shadow drifted, half machine, half living light. Its voice echoed through the stars, ancient and sorrowful. Lyra of the Starborn line, you were never meant to awaken. The shadow remembered. The war long ago when humans and dragons fought side by side against the Starborn lords, creatures that could bend time and energy. The dragons won, but at a great cost. Now that power had returned inside a fragile human girl. In the palace, fear spread like wildfire. Some dragons wanted to worship Lyra as a messenger of destiny. Others wanted her destroyed before her power grew stronger. Court Mage Vorthan led the whispers. She will bring the same doom the Starborn once did. Every breath she takes pulls their gaze closer. The emperor slammed his claw against the floor, cracking the marble. She saved my son. I owe her a debt of life. No dragon will harm her while I live. But even as he spoke, thunder rolled. Not from the sky, but from the mountains. The first attack had begun. From the clouds came shapes of light and shadow. Glowing armor, long limbs, and voices like broken metal. The Starborn sentinels had returned. They didn't roar or speak. They simply fell from the sky, cutting through the dragon guard like blades of energy. The palace burned. The emperor took to the air, wings wide, roaring fire into the storm. Lyra ran through the chaos, clutching the dragon prince close. Her blue light flared bright, shielding them both from falling debris. Then a voice inside her mind. Lyra, you cannot run from what you are. She screamed, falling to her knees as visions flooded her. Stars dying, worlds burning, dragons chained in light. And at the center of it all, her own face, surrounded by fire. When she opened her eyes, the battle was silent. The Starborn had vanished as suddenly as they came. Only ashes and broken towers remained. The emperor landed beside her, wings torn, armor cracked. He looked at her with both gratitude and fear. What did you do? He asked softly. Lyra shook her head, tears in her eyes. I didn't do anything. They stopped because they saw me. The emperor frowned. Why would they stop? Lyra whispered, her voice trembling. Because I think I was one of them. And in the distance, the stars themselves flickered, as if something beyond the sky had just awakened and remembered her name. Morning came slowly to Valtherus. The sun rose over smoke and ruin. Half the palace lay in ashes, and the dragons who survived stood in silence, staring at the destruction the Starborn had left behind. The emperor, Kael'thar, stood among the ruins with fire still burning in his chest. He had fought countless wars, but never had he seen enemies vanish into thin air, leaving no scent, no body, only cold light. At his side, Lyra sat with the young dragon prince asleep in her arms. Her face was pale, her eyes distant. She looked less like a savior now, and more like a ghost. Inside the war chamber, the council gathered. The voices were sharp and angry. She is the reason they came, one shouted. If we give her to them, maybe they'll leave us alone, another roared. She carries their mark. The Emperor slammed his claw on the stone table. Enough! His voice echoed through the chamber. She saved my son. She saved our future. We do not betray those who save us. Mage Vorthen stepped forward, his staff glowing faintly. My Emperor, I respect your honor, but she is not what she seems. The Starborn saw her, and stopped. That means they recognize her as one of their own. What if she is a weapon that doesn't know it yet? The Emperor's jaw tightened. Then I will decide when that weapon should strike. That night, the Emperor visited Lyra in her chamber. She sat near the window watching the stars. The same stars that now hunted her. Why didn't you tell me? He asked quietly. Lyra looked up, tears in her eyes. Because I didn't know. I was just a researcher on a science vessel. When we found the Starborn ruins, something inside them called to me. It entered me. Light, pain, memories that weren't mine. After that, my crew died, and I crashed here. The Emperor studied her for a long time. So you carry the power of those who once tried to destroy us. Lyra nodded slowly. But I'm still human. I want to stop them, not join them. Kael'thar's eyes softened. Then you are part of my world now, Lyra. And my world protects its own. But even as he spoke, the sky outside shifted, stars moving in unnatural patterns. The constellations twisted, forming a shape, a giant eye staring down upon the Dragonlands. Lyra gasped. They've found me again. The Emperor drew his sword, fire dancing along its edge. Then we fight. Lyra shook her head. You don't understand. This isn't just about me. They want what's inside me, the seed of origin. It's the power that created worlds. If they take it back, every living thing on this planet will burn. The Emperor froze. Then the price of saving my son was the doom of my world. At that moment, the council burst into the chamber. Soldiers surrounded them, weapons drawn. Mage Vorthen stepped forward. My Emperor, he said coldly. For the safety of our race, we cannot let the human live. Lyra backed away. Kael'thar, the Emperor roared, spreading his wings wide. Stand down. None shall harm her while I breathe. Vorthen's eyes glowed crimson. Then you choose her over your own kind? The air shook with tension. The Emperor's voice was firm and quiet. I choose the truth, even if it kills me. Outside, thunder cracked. But it wasn't thunder. From the heavens, a massive rift opened, spilling light and shadow across the land. The voice that haunted Lyra returned, deep and metallic. Lyra of the Seed, come home. The ground split. The palace trembled. The war for Valtherus was about to begin. And deep in her chest, Lyra felt the power awaken again. Brighter, stronger, and more dangerous than before. The heavens above Valtherus split open like broken glass. From the crack in the stars, light poured down. Not warm, but cold and sharp. Shapes moved inside the light, metallic and alive. Wings made of pure energy. The Starborn Armada had arrived. Their voices echoed across the land like thunder and whisper at once. Return the seed of origin, or your world will burn. Every dragon lifted their gaze to the sky. The Emperor Kael'thar roared, his wings unfolding wide. They want war. We'll give them fire. The dragon army rose into the air, thousands of wings beating as one. Flames burst across the clouds. The sky turned red with battle. On the ground, Lyra watched in horror as light and fire collided above. Dragons roared, their flames cutting through the metal creatures. But for every one destroyed, 3 more appeared. The Starborn ships were not ships at all. They were living machines, glowing veins pulsing with the same blue light inside Lyra's hands. She felt it, their pain, their will, their memories. They were calling her name. Lyra, you are us. We are you. She fell to her knees, clutching her chest. The power inside her pulsed, begging to be released. The Emperor landed beside her, his armor cracked, his claws dripping molten fire. You can stop this, can't you? He growled. Tears filled her eyes. If I use this power, I might not survive. Kael'thar looked toward the burning sky. Then let your name be remembered forever. And this, human. Lyra stood, her body shaking. The air around her shimmered. The blue light burst from her skin, spreading into wings of pure energy. The starborn ships paused in the sky, as if recognizing their lost creation. Seed of origin, obey. Lyra screamed. The ground split beneath her, and a wave of light erupted outward. The nearest starborn ships shattered, dissolving into dust. Dragons gasped, pulling back as the wave of power swept across the battlefield. But the light didn't stop. It grew brighter, hotter, unstoppable. The Emperor flew in front of her, shielding her with his wings. Control it, Lyra. You'll burn yourself. Her voice broke. I can't. It's too strong. Then something small and weak cried out. The Dragon Prince, the child she had saved, reached toward her, his eyes glowing faintly with the same blue light. The connection hit her like lightning. The boy's tiny spark merged with hers, calming the storm. The light around her steadied. No longer chaos, but harmony. Lyra looked up at the sky, eyes glowing like stars. This world doesn't belong to you, she said to the Starborn. You left it behind long ago. It's ours now. With one final breath, she released the light. A silent, blinding wave that stretched beyond sight. Every Starborn ship froze mid-air, then crumbled into dust, scattering across the cosmos. The war was over, but Lyra fell to the ground, motionless. The Emperor rushed to her side, his claws trembling. Her eyes were open, but fading. You kept your promise, she whispered weakly. You protected your world. Kaeldar lowered his head. No, human. You protected it for all of us. A faint smile touched her lips. Then maybe I wasn't a curse after all. Her light flickered once and went out. The Dragon Prince cried softly beside her, his tiny wings glowing faintly blue. The Emperor looked up at the dawn breaking through the clouds. The war was done, but the cost was written in ashes and light. Far above, among the fading stars, a single whisper lingered. Balance restored, but the seed still lives. The world of Valtherus was quiet for the first time in many centuries. The black clouds were gone. The sky was clear, painted in gold and silver. The war was over, but the price of peace was carved deep into the hearts of all who survived. At the center of the battlefield, the Dragon Emperor Kaeldar stood alone, the ground scorched beneath his claws. Before him lay the resting place of the human girl Lyra, the one who had saved both his heir and his world. Around her body, the ground had turned to glass, glowing faintly blue. It was said that even in death, her light refused to fade. The dragons built a monument there, half stone, half crystal, and at its heart, they sealed a small fragment of her power. They called it the Heart of the Seed. Every dragon who saw it bowed in silence. For the first time in their long history, they honored a human as one of their own. Years passed. The Dragon Prince, now grown, carried both fire and light in his blood. His wings shimmered blue when he flew through the dawn. Under his rule, dragons and humans no longer lived apart. They traded, learned, and built together, guided by stories of the girl who crossed the stars to save a child. The Emperor, older now, often visited the crystal field where she had fallen. He would speak softly into the wind, as if she could still hear him. You changed us, Lyra. You changed me. Sometimes, when the sky was very still, he swore he could feel warmth in the air, a faint pulse beneath the earth. But one night, many years later, something strange happened. A star fell, not burning red, but glowing blue, landing in the same valley where Lyra once died. The next morning, the young Dragon Prince went there alone. He found the glass cracked, the air shimmering. A faint voice echoed in his mind. Familiar, gentle, and alive. Protect them, little one. The light is never truly gone. He looked up, and for a heartbeat, he saw her Lyra, standing in the dawn light, smiling. Her form was made of energy and starlight. And then, she vanished with the rising sun. From that day, dragons told a new legend. that the human girl's spirit became the guardian of the sky, watching over Valtherus whenever darkness tried to return. They said the stars still listened when her name was spoken. Lyra, the starborn savior. And every time the wind carried a soft blue glow across the horizon, the dragons knew she was still there, watching, protecting, the girl who changed the fate of two worlds, forever.